And if I didn't wear the right shoes, like, would I be judged differently? Or if I didn't shake a person's hand correctly, would they judge me and not listen to what I have to say? And I wouldn't be as professional. And then that would lead to maybe work not working out, or me not getting a deal, or my business not being successful. And then as I was exhausting myself trying to do that in my work and in my relationships, I felt like I started to do that as a mom. I felt like I had to be the mom that took my child to every activity and had all the perfect snacks and all the perfect play dates and always had the best and most fun birthday parties and always made sure that I was super, super, super happy around my son. And he never saw that I was anything else except for super happy to see him. And I had the best day and I was always feeling really good. And then I started watching him try to be perfect. Welcome to Beyond the Black Belts. Today's episode is on perfectionism. I'm Maeghen Cotterill, the owner of 5 Elements Martial Arts in Calgary, Alberta, and the president of the WKU Team Canada. So perfectionism, this has been on my mind a lot lately. It's been something I think that's been ingrained in me since as long as I could ever remember, especially since I started in school. And it's something that I think has majorly affected how I think and how I work, my relationships, how I see myself, how I see my body, perceptions, and how I think that it's sort of come to a head now where perfectionism and my awareness of it and my desire to be so perfect for so long isn't working anymore. Kind of sucking, actually. So I wanted to sort of dive into how I've thought about it, what I want to change, how it's affected me negatively, and maybe it'll be helpful to you too. So why I thought I had to perform at a high level. I think I've always had this huge desire to be accepted. I know where it's come from in my family history and my background. And I think that I thought if I was perfect enough, then I would be of so much more value and I'd be easier to love and less rejected. And I think I sort of had this sensitivity to rejection that was the worst feeling in the world. And it would hurt, I felt like, all the way into my soul when I was rejected. I think that I just wanted to have a lot of friends and have a lot of fun and bring a lot of joy. And I didn't know why at such a young age I felt like I was a mistake, or I felt like I was wrong, or I felt like I never fit in. And perfectionism was sort of the way that I felt like if I could do everything to this extremely high level, that everything would be okay and everything would work out and my life would be so much easier and so much happier. But it wasn't what happened. What happened was I completely self-abandoned. I thought that if I was perfect enough at a sport, or perfect enough at school, or perfect enough as a friend, or I looked perfect enough, or I dressed perfect enough, or said all the right things, or I figured out what made other people tick and I could tell them what they wanted to hear, and I could do the things that they loved, and I could make them feel so seen and so heard that maybe I would feel like I would get that back. And I think that's what everyone wants, is to be seen and heard and accepted and be full of joy and happiness and be loved. And it's not real. It's not real. None of it is real. So I guess that's when I realized that perfectionism is a lie. Maybe I'm the last one to know. I feel like lately there's been a lot of life lessons that I've had to learn where I feel like I am the last one to know, where when I see other people try to be perfect and try to excel to a 15 out of 10, basically, that they're more than good enough just how they are. The way they perform at work is amazing. The way that they are athletically talented is amazing. I just want to hear what they really have to say. I just really want to hear their opinion. I just really want to see them take risks and overcome things and potentially fail. I just didn't accept that that was something that I could do myself. I didn't think I was allowed to fail. I didn't think I was allowed to have mistakes. I didn't think that I was allowed to have the same compassion that I wanted to show other people. And plus, I thought if I was this person, no one would ever question me. and I would have less struggles and less challenges, and my career would be a little bit easier, and I would feel a lot less judged, and I would have more respect and be taken more seriously. So the perfectionism led to, well, I couldn't just work out for an hour a day. I had to work out for 4 hours a day. And the perfectionism led to, obviously, all my gazillion black belts. Obviously, I'm being very sarcastic there, but I felt like I couldn't just get one. Like, how would I be good enough if I just had one? Like, that would be constantly questioned. I had to get as many as I could and train with as many people as I could. And then I felt like, okay, well, my teeth aren't straight enough, so I need to get Invisaligns, or I have wrinkles, so maybe I need to get Botox. And maybe I need to dress a certain way so that when I walked into a meeting, it would be a better impression and I would have an easier time looking like I could be taken seriously, or what I had to say was even more of value. And if I didn't wear the right shoes, like, would I be judged differently? Or if I didn't shake a person's hand correctly, would they judge me and not listen to what I have to say? And I wouldn't be as professional. And then that would lead to maybe work not working out, or me not getting a deal, or my business not being successful. And then as I was exhausting myself trying to do that in my work and in my relationships, I felt like I started to do that as a mom. I felt like I had to be the mom that took my child to every activity and had all the perfect snacks and all the perfect play dates and always had the best and most fun birthday parties and always made sure that I was super, super, super happy around my son. And he never saw that I was anything else except for super happy to see him. And I had the best day and I was always feeling really good. And then I started watching him try to be perfect. I watched him bury his feelings and fake being happy and tell me things that I wanted to hear, which was heartbreaking. I was teaching him that perfectionism was how he had to be in the world. I was teaching my students that being perfect was how they had to show up in classes and competitions. I was teaching my staff that they didn't have room for failure or mistakes and that they had to be perfect, or else that wasn't going to be good enough for me or their job. And I wonder if in my relationships, it was the same as well, where it was a lot of pressure. And maybe there wasn't the same grace. And maybe they felt like they couldn't always be their authentic self or tell the authentic truth that they felt in their gut, because maybe it wasn't something I was willing to accept because I wasn't willing to accept it in myself. It became incredibly toxic. If this podcast is helping you, please share. I love growing this community and I think we're stronger together. So please like, follow, or subscribe. So with the toxicity and watching it, especially with my son, because I feel like he teaches me the deepest lessons as a human being that anyone could teach me, more than any other painful lessons that I've been through, is I don't want him to grow up and think that this is how he needs to be a human in the world, that he's not allowed to have feelings. He's not allowed to share his real opinion. He's not allowed to share what he truly wants. He's not allowed to cry. He's not allowed to get angry. He's not allowed to not dress a certain way or eat a certain way or make eye contact a certain way or present himself in situations a certain way. I think I need to let him breathe. I think I needed to tell him that it was okay. And I started sharing my real self with him. On days that I wanted to cry, instead of faking it, I cried in front of him. And I told him, like, Mom's having a really bad day. Mom really messed up at work today. And I don't know what to do. And I'm really frustrated. And, you know, it's going to be okay. But for right now, I need to be sad for 20 minutes. And it taught him that, you know what, it's okay to be sad for 20 minutes. It's okay to take some self-time. It's okay to just want to be comfortable. It's really led to him opening up. And I think it's changed me being a boss as well and letting my staff know that you're not going to have a perfect day. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to be a perfect teacher. You're going to mess up sometimes. And that they don't have to worry about their job. They don't have to worry about my opinion of them. They don't have to worry about my students' opinion of them, because they're teaching the students that it's okay to make mistakes too, and that it's okay to navigate differently. And there doesn't need to be so much pressure all the time. I mean, I think in a world where all we see is perfectness everywhere, it creates a lot of pressure, especially in my mind, as far as acceptance and respect goes, to be so perfect, it takes its toll. It takes a lot of energy that I don't think that we have the bandwidth for anymore. And it's created a lot of additional challenges that I think that I really didn't need to go through. My desire to be perfect and to do 1,000 things 1,000% led to my nervous system completely collapsing. It led to me having shingles 4 times in 2.5 years. It led to panic attacks. It led to waking up at 4 a.m. and not being able to sleep. It led to me being so reactionary and not handling situations in the best way that I could, where I think if I just would have let a lot go and taken a breath and not put so much pressure on myself all the time, I probably could have made better choices and more relaxed choices and more comfortable choices for everyone around me, as opposed to them feeling my anxiety constantly, which wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to anyone. And I don't want anyone to feel all the projection of what I think is my failures and what I think are my shortfalls. So that toxic mindset was also what drove me for a long time. That desire for perfection definitely led to a lot of the accomplishments that I've had. It was a huge driving force. It was a huge driving force in my overtraining. It was a huge driving force in my credentials. It was a huge driving force in putting on huge, massive events to the best of my abilities, trying to do things in such an elevated way that it almost broke me, but they were amazing accomplishments. And I really saw what I was made of, and I really saw what I could do and what I could accomplish. But I also learned that what I lost out of it wasn't worth it moving forward, and that it was actually an addiction. And that desire for perfection was a big addiction and a big distraction and a big way of me focusing on those things, as opposed to accepting myself and having more love for myself and getting to know myself better and what I truly wanted. I was focusing so much on what I thought I needed to do and had to do and what everyone expected of me, that I think I completely lost myself and didn't know how I actually wanted to be, how I actually wanted to teach, how I actually wanted to be a boss, how I actually wanted to run my business, how I actually wanted to parent, because I thought there was only a certain way of doing things that would be acceptable. And if I just held it together so well for so long, everything would be okay in my life. And I wouldn't feel the same pain or sadness or anxiety or loneliness or isolation that I felt from being a single mom or a business owner or being a fighter with no coach. Having that perfectionism and that goal-orientated mindset, as gross as it was, really was how I got through some of the hardest days and the darkest days and helped me stay on course. But now I'm getting old and I've accomplished those big goals, and it's taken its toll, and the addiction needs to be broken. I need to find balance. I need to take that time to breathe. I need to have compassion the way that I want other people to have compassion for themselves. I need to give myself the same grace and love that I would want for everybody else and that I would want to give to everybody else. I think my projection of my own perfectionism was what people thought that I expected from them, and I never did. All I wanted was they were allowed to be themselves and to be happy and to breathe, and I was so proud of them. I was so proud of everyone in my life, but they never felt that way. And moving forward, I think it's time to start a new chapter and figure out how I really want to be and release the need to be so perfect, because maybe the other side is pretty beautiful. Maybe the other side is more free and actually more full of joy and full of more laughter. And letting go is a beautiful feeling. And I don't want to be in my perfectionism addiction jail anymore. Like, I want to go run free in the fields and experience life the way it really is supposed to, and figure out all the aspects that I've been hiding for so long. What aspects of yourself are you hiding through your perfectionism? What are you preventing yourself from doing that could be the most amazing things ever because of what you think other people might think or what you think you should be doing? Maybe it's time to let go. Maybe it's just time to figure out the real human that you are and move forward with that beautiful life. If this podcast was helpful, I really appreciate you being part of this community, and I want to grow this community. And the more we can share it, talk about it, be honest, I think the better and more we can grow together. So please Keep enjoying Beyond the Black Belts and share, like, and subscribe.